Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all. Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Excited about this one. So this is Whole Health Weekly. Welcome. If you haven't been here before, remember, it's The Prize Inside on Rumble. If you want to, you can subscribe to our newsletter, which, of course, I forgot this week. So that was fantastic. I'm trying to get in the consistency of doing it, but it's tribe1.substack.com. And then every Tuesday, we do a little newsletter out. This one you might be interested in because we'll probably do the transcript too of this one as we talk. I have a special guest tonight, Stephanie, that I'm going to bring to the stage in a minute. And then we'll discuss. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is about flour. And it's going to be so cool. I think we're ahead of the game on this one. And I can't wait. If you have questions in the comments, my super fans, get in on this thing because it's going to be fantastic. And Stephanie knows her stuff. So, and we met her a little, Rachel and I met her, or I didn't meet her. Rachel told me about it. We were talking about, God, it was months ago. I was saying, man, this Joe Rogan podcast. This is what I was telling Stephanie. This Joe Rogan podcast had where he kept saying, man, every time I eat bread here, I don't feel as good. And then I go over to Paris or, the European countries and I feel pretty good. So tonight we're going to discuss and explore that idea. And then Stephanie has done that in real time. So without further ado, I will bring up, and it's been a while since I've interviewed. So I'm going to bring up Stephanie. Stephanie, are you there?
I am here.
Yes. I love this software. I'm getting better at it, but it is what my people know. It's a little glitchy sometimes, but it's so cool. I can stream. We're on 5 different things right now, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, tonight this is Stephanie Harvey, and I'm gonna do a little intro of you. Teacher at a school. It's Athens, right, Stephanie?
No, actually, it's a small private school.
Oh, it is.
It's outside of Athens. It's in Athens area, but it's not Athens schools. Yeah, it's
that's cool. That's awesome. So I'm gonna read your bio a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
So Stephanie is a wife to the most supportive, amazing husband I know. That's what my wife says all the time. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. And a mom of 2 incredible kids. My daughter, her daughter, and her son-in-law live in Florida and are about to make her a grandmother, which is so cool. When is that due?
June 2nd.
June 2nd. Oh, so she's real due.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's feeling it right now. And your son graduated high school last year and has shifted into the trades, which is amazingly smart right now. It's like one of my other favorite guys, if you ever want to listen to a podcast, is Mike Rowe. Hundreds of thousands of tradesmen are needed, and we're touching the surface of these kids knowing that. But I mean, just great jobs. And it's like she says, it's a sweet season of her life. I like that. She keeps a pretty cool schedule, full schedule, balancing work, church, community, and family life. But she tries to make room for the things that matter most, which is so part of our Whole Health Weekly, our prize inside. You want to do health and time, right? Those are the two things that are the most valuable. And then so she teaches at a small combined she teaches a small combined pre-K and kindergarten class, and she loves it. This is really cool. For birthdays, we make fresh milled flour goodies together. They get to choose what we bake. It's messy, fun, and such a sweet way to celebrate while teaching, where the real food comes from. Okay, so let's start here. So how did you get on this journey, Stephanie?
Oh, way back when, in 2000, Y2K or however that was, my husband had purchased us a bread machine and also a juicer. And so I started making bread then a couple times. We got on the juicing kick a little bit more and just tried different things there. And then fast forward a few years, kind of tucked the bread machine away. I went to a conference. Our son was born really ill, had all kinds of things. That's a whole nother thing. And by the grace of God, he was how he was healed. I'm grateful for that. But he had all kinds of issues, eczema, and couldn't go to the bathroom. The poor kid, like just so many things. And we thought he could have had worse things. So anyway, I just kept researching, kept trying to find how can I help him? And so we eliminated everything. Like we eliminated gluten and dairy and like you and I mentioned earlier, like all those things. There was probably a list of 7 things, and his eczema started to get better. I wish I had known about fresh milled flour, the vitamin E content, which we can talk about later. But he started to get better, and I just went to a conference, and it was this woman had this mill, and she had all these things, and blew my mind. This was probably 15 years ago.
Right.
And so it's starting to be talked about more and more, like you mentioned.
Correct.
And I was blown away. Like, where do I get one? How do I do this? I had no idea. The internet wasn't like, it was modem.
Right.
Well,
that's the biggest thing is you probably had a hard time finding anything, really.
Yeah. And even if I could find the wheat berries, like I could find them locally, like at Apple Valley, I didn't know where a mill was or how to get a mill or anything about that. So I was interested. I kept digging. And then, about 2000, I had started sourdough, and I'd done sourdough in the past, but then I started wholeheartedly. Then we had a house fire and put the sourdough starter in the fridge, and it dried up. The house was okay, but we had a lot of work to do. So it was contained to one room. Thank the Lord. So anyway, I started getting back in the sourdough. Well, I just listening to all the new podcasters and YouTubers about fresh milled flour. And I just really wanted to get into fresh milled flour. There was just a difference I was starting to understand, that even sourdough with conventional flour was different. And so I kept digging, and then I'm going through the stuff through the fire, going through all of our boxes of things that were packed away. And I find this old DVD, and it has bread Beckers on it, and it has fresh milled flour. And I remember the conference that I had gone to, they gave me this DVD that Sue Becker, I don't know if you've heard of her yet.
No.
Go
ahead.
She worked for Kraft Foods years and years ago. And so she's a food scientist. She's now also a nutritionist. They own a store in Georgia, and they sell flour. They have different co-ops in different parts and places. She wrote a book, the Essential Home Ground Flour book that I forgot to tell you about. And it's just, I started digging into that, and I asked my husband, if I could get a mill. Well, I got a bonus. So I bought a hand crank mill, and never couldn't hook it up to our counter. My husband said, that's not going to work. It's going to break our counter. So I was a little bummed and disappointed. So I stuck with the sourdough for a little while. And then Mother's Day, a year later, he surprised me with a mill, which to his credit, he was thinking this is just another fad. She's gone through,
Right.
things. I've made kombucha, I've sprouted, and I've done all these things, and I stick with it for a little bit, and then I don't do it, and then I go back, like the bread machine. He's thinking, yeah, I don't know about this. So, but he, and then he goes, we have this hand mill. What are we going to do with this? Am I going to carry this on my back if there's a zombie apocalypse someday? Like what? But I wouldn't let him get rid of it.
Right.
So we got the mill, and it's so funny because I first, I get all the grains and I pour them in the hopper. It's just this little contraption, like for people that have no idea. You actually, back in the day, it was very different. You would go to a miller, and so it just sits on my counter, and plug it in, turn it on, pour it in the hopper, and flour comes out like in minutes. Yeah, I have enough flour. It really is. And my husband was very impressed.
Yes.
And
especially now you add the technology of what we had now. One of the things that's so interesting is because it finally changed, right? The food pyramid, right? This was like a month ago or so, where they added the fats back in and all those things. But if you think of back in the day when our grain was actually grain, so my listeners know how I feel about fake sugar. It drives me nuts. It's in everything we have. And it's caused so many immuno issues because it's fake, right? So what occurs is a lot of times it has to, so there's real sugar in this fake sugar, but it has to have this carrier, right, to go in. So I usually use it as a truck. So the truck is the chemical they have to use. And then in the back of the truck is the sugar molecule. And so when the sugar goes in, then the sugar gets taken up by your body, and then this truck's hanging out, but the body doesn't know what the truck is. So then the immune system goes, what the heck is a truck? So then the immune system goes nuts. So that's why the fresh milled thing is so fascinating to me, because it's one of those that in America currently, we don't treat our flour this way. We ultra process that stuff, and because of the way we do it, we lose its life, I think. You know what I mean? And but back then, maybe the food pyramid made more sense, because when you're eating stuff that's alive, and a lot of my people, like you said, kombucha, which is hilarious because kombucha. So I am a huge gut bacteria guy. They all know it. My next interview is with this place called the Fermentation School. We're like lining it up now. And it's like these little online classes because they know I'm in love with their lemon dill kraut that they make. But and it's so easy like now, but that's what this whole podcast is about, is like, how can we live this way? And you just hit the best one is I'll do it. Rachel had a bread machine we just threw away. It's hilarious. We haven't used that sucker in like years. We were going to start doing it. And then, oh my God, it's huge, heavy.
Yeah.
On the counter, you're like, okay, I'm not making bread this week. That's the kind of thing that happens. And that's the fight too, right? So living that holistic thing, it's got to become part of who you are. And then when you said it's so simple now, it's like, whoa, that'll change. And it'll be nice for people. Like once they figure all that out, so that's why I think you're onto something. Years ago, they were onto something anyway, right? So it's been around, but why? Right. And it's because it's called the germ. And what was the other one? I studied this one, guys. So just be ready.
The bran.
So it's germ and
endosperm and the bran.
Yes, the bran.
The hull and the chaff is over top. Chaff. I might be saying it wrong, but that's
keep talking. Okay, tell me what you know about it, so that I'll feed in you the other stuff.
Well,
because you know it way better than I do. So
remind me to go back to that. I just want to say real quick for me, if we've been hearing, don't eat this, that's bad. Don't eat that, that's bad. Oh, wait, it's good. No, it's bad. So whenever I hear now something is bad, I look at the whole picture. I like to look at the good and the bad. And so when they were saying weed is bad, I stayed away for a while. And then I got to thinking, I come from a biblical perspective, and I'm like, okay, Deuteronomy 3, man can't live by bread alone. Why would he compare Jesus to the bread of life if bread's so bad? Like, I don't understand this. God gave us seed for us for consumption. So I look at the whole thing. And so then I realized, well, it's because that wheat berry contains everything we need. Well, back in the 1800s, when steel mill rollers came into play, it was this huge invention. Like it went because the bran contains the oil, the germ contains the oil. And so it would go rancid. Now, I'm not sure what people understood back then of the health benefits, but they knew it would go bad if you got it from the miller and you probably left it for a long time, or if you had a hand mill and you left it on your counter, it would go bad. So they knew that part of it. Well, when the steel mill came into play, it got these millers out of business, and they started pumping out mass producing for the masses, right? For a lot of people, and then it doesn't go bad, and all of that. Well, there became a lot of problems with that. So again, I want to go back here. Chaff, the outside, and then the germ is the bran. I don't want to get mixed up. The bran inner, the germ is the tiny part of it, and then the endosperm is what's left when they mill, sift it out. So way back when, ancient days, they would sift. Rich people or people who could afford it would eat the white part, and the peasants were left with the other part of it. And so they got to have the white things. Well, they were heartier looking because they were getting that. Well, they also were being warned by philosophers and writers back then, from a little reading that I had done, that this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing to eat the white part. The white part is you're missing out. And we went to Greenfield Village a few years back for my son's field trip, way back when he was in 6th grade. And I remember one of the workers for one of the people that lived in the houses, I apologize, I can't remember exactly who and the names, but I remember finding it interesting that he outlived the person he was taking care of, because he wasn't getting, it was, he was getting the good part. His master, who thought he was getting the tasty good part, was actually, he died earlier. I don't know. I'm not sure if there was anything.
That's fascinating, because you're not far from so the problem is you got to think in terms of capital. Well, in a sense, we got to think of capitalism as a whole, as it started getting where we want to do, feed the masses, make it easy, do all those things. Every single piece of our foods have gone through this thing. And one of the things that is huge that you just said was that, to keep it on a store shelf, like a real bread, is going to be like an impossibility, really.
Right.
If it's alive, right? So if it's an alive thing, right? Yeah. Kind of like anything, you're not going to leave a piece of meat sitting on a counter, for over a week or over 2 weeks, right? We're just not going to do that, right? And so what we've done is figured out a way to kind of kill it off, but keep the tent. So there's a chiropractor. I'll tell you this one. So in chiropractic, we always believe that the body heals itself. It needs no help. It just needs no interference from the outside. We have everything and all the ability to heal. We just have to make sure that there's 3 things: thoughts, toxins, traumas. Okay. So one of those, if they interfere with the body's ability to heal, that's our job. Right. And so your thought process is like, wait, they ate wheat all the time. So you're going, okay, so is it us? Are we, and God doesn't build a bad thing, right? Every cell of your human body has the ability to heal. So is it the bad? So, and if you look at it from that perspective, and that's what I tell my people all the time. And that's what Whole Health Weekly on Wednesday night is. We go through the charts or all the news of that week and then go, okay, is this good or is it, taking over something the body already does, right? Or something like that, right? But what happens in the gluten scenario is, I believe it now strongly, that when you took the alive part of whatever it is, you'll know it better than I am. Let's say it's the germ and the endospore. Whenever you take that and degrade it down to nothing, you get a better shelf life for that, but you're taking away the actual healing capabilities of what it is. Because when I look this thing up, all right, this is how many vitamins, guys. All right, ready? So this is just all the B vitamins are in there.
Yep.
The biggest one is B1, which is the only other place you can get B1 is actual like farmer egg yolk. Okay. So B2, niacin, B6. Okay. Vitamin E. All the minerals like magnesium, iron, zinc, all these other ones that aid many functions like muscles and everything else. Dietary fiber, huge. Last week we talked about this thing on TikTok. That's what tonight's about, is all the social media crazies, like the trends that go out there. It's called fibromaxing. And so people are maxing out their fiber because they do all meat diets. And it's really bad for your gut bacteria to do that, because your gut bacteria is alive and it's a creature, right? So we have trillions of them. And if they don't have fiber, they die. Yeah. So if you stay on, let's say, a ketogenic, it could be really good for you because getting rid of stuff and, those kind of things. You don't want to stay it on forever though, because if the gut bacteria, your probiotics that are in there, don't have fiber, they're going to struggle, right? And so to have that kind of fiber in a bread,
it's amazing,
is what it was. That was the beautiful thing. So I think there's even more stuff, but we'll go over that later. But yeah,
actually, I mean, that's one of the things that I don't always notice the hugest difference when I'm eating it, but when I stop eating it is when I notice. And at least I encourage anybody, if you're going to go on this journey, to at least 2 times a day, fresh milled flour, because going to the bathroom, number 2,
yes,
it's huge because of that.
Absolutely huge. And it's a much bigger problem than people want to, admit or do, like all those things. Like, I mean, especially my women, I'll be honest, like they don't do that very often. Sometimes, and they'll think it's normal to go once a week, once every 2 days. It's insane. Like, and I hear it all the time, and it's like, and part of it is fiber, right? And so by having that good fiber that you can get from vegetables and this, right? Those two avenues are really, really good. But how do you implement it when the easiest stuff is just to grab it off the store shelf and go? And that is the biggest challenge of all of the world right now. So that's
it's the whole carb scare too.
Yeah. So what motivated you to go to this conference? I'm very curious.
The conference was a Christian conference that women of our church went to, but like I told you in my email, I've just been naturally minded. I wasn't at first. I don't know what, little things here and there in my life has helped me to, I think God has steered me in that direction. Just little things, one thing builds upon another. And I'm like, I want to check this out. I want to see this. And so, I still wish. I remember one thing she told us was her child would steal the Nutri-Grain bars that she would make herself. So she made, that's one thing I haven't tried yet. Or Pop-Tarts I haven't tried yet. My daughter did. She said they were amazing. Like, make them here when you visit.
Right.
So she did homemade jam, and she said her child will steal them and, eat them, but they won't need a lot. That's the thing, that with the fiber, I'm not sure what else is in it. I do not crave the things you talked about. Sugar, that is my number one. fall
It's
back.
a lot of people's. It's a lot of people's. And that's the thing. There's two things that are happening there. And sometimes one is we have and the lady that you said, I'm going to write her down so I can follow her,
Yes.
because being a food scientist, she'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They know the chemicals that get your brain stimulated in that addiction direction. So that's one aspect. But the other one is when it's not real food. Okay. So if it's not real calories, there's fake calories and there's real calories. A lot of the stuff we eat, the processed stuff, is all fake. So your body's like, what the heck is this? This isn't food. You just gave me some kind of like immune system enemy. I want to get rid of that. Give me actual food, right? So it's searching for those calories. And once you get a satisfaction, steak, like things that are really good. That's why when you go to like a restaurant, it's so crazy. Go to a high-end restaurant where they use lard as the fat producer, like that's what they're cooking in, but no one ever tells anybody that. So they're like, this lard, you get the best steak you've ever had or whatever, right? Oh, even the veggies, and it's this little tiny plate and you're full. And it's because it's so organic and all those things, it's real calories. And so that real calorie thing, and that's what the bread, that's fascinating you say that, because that is a big deal. Like, because if you could stop eating bread, you want to hear a crazy study? Okay. So see, I told you, Stephanie, this is nuts. Like some people like it. Some people, no, I'm just kidding. So they took a mouse and they addicted it to three things. Okay. Crack cocaine, sugar, and bread. Okay. So they did this and they put this mouse and then they put it in the room with all three options. Guess which one it went to first? I know which one everybody says, but go ahead.
Sugar?
Nope.
No.
It was bread first.
Oh, interesting.
And then it went to sugar. And then it went to cocaine. Think about that. So bread, sugar, cocaine. So because you can have that addiction because the bread is so satisfying. It is. And even in the way we have it currently, but it doesn't hit the mark. And that's one of the problems. That's why the stores like Myers actually infuses the bread baking smell into the grocery store. It's not actual real, which is wild. Yeah. And it makes sense.
It is an amazing smell. Everybody loves when I'm baking.
Oh my God. Rachel made a zucchini apple crisp.
Oh.
And she cooked it. We found it in the freezer. We were making some room for some other stuff, and she pulled it out. And then you're like, oh God, it's over. So right. My daughter got fantastic during COVID. My oldest got way into baking, oh my God, Julia Roberts' book, all this stuff, and I was begging her to just so thank goodness I have an office full of patients because I was like trying to give it away all the time. You cannot leave me with a cheesecake at the end, just sitting on the counter at night. What?
Right.
That's evil. Right.
Yeah.
Because bread is that way. But here's the cool part. Like you said, maybe you don't have to have the craving you can have some, but it's real. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. That's what I've always been mesmerized by the gluten intolerant giant movement, right? Because like when you see it in a baby, like your son, right? You start going, oh no way is my kid ever touching that stuff again, right? Especially after seeing eczema. I remember our daughter going through, we switched all of our detergents too on this. So we had the little onesies and we're putting it in. It's called Dreft. It was the good stuff. Well, one of her onesies got in Rachel and I's stuff. Well, we were just using I won't use the word, but it's an orange bottle. So that orange bottle gets on there and instant, all head to toe friggin' rash. And we're like, what is that? Like nothing changed. And then I'm like, wait a minute. That onesie was never got rid of that stuff in a New York minute. We didn't even think about it because the adult didn't have that reaction. Right. So to me, I think the journey you're on with milled flour. So how do you do it? Let's talk about that because that's pretty cool.
Okay. No, I want to tell you how to, can I touch on something that you were talking about?
Heck yes. I
Okay.
talk all the
I'll
time.
definitely, I'll definitely get to how we did it, how I do it. But you talked about the mouse study. Well, I want to go back further when they started getting rid of the bran and the germ, and they were just left with the endosperm. The people were getting sick. There were 3 major diseases. I don't know if you came across that were happening at that time. Yeah. And like right away. And Georgia was prevalent, and I can't remember which other state. And Sue Becker talks about this a lot too. Pellagra was one, which is like a niacin vitamin B3 deficiency.
Major deficiency. Yep.
And I think that one's the 4 Ds, like dementia, diabetes, dermatitis, and death.
Right.
Berry, and anemia are those 3 things, and the government stepped in. From what I understand, I'd have to check more into it again, make sure I have this right. But I know that somebody was stepping in saying, you got to do something. And they had a market for what was left. It's for the animal feed. And so they couldn't do that. So that's why a lot of things were added back in. And I think it was in the 90s when they started adding the folate or folate.
Correct.
Right. So
I think it's like they have to add the folate. So
right,
literally they're taking it out that's already in there, right? Because the B vitamins are already present in the real stuff.
Yeah.
But then they have to add it back because of the processing and the industrialization of our bread making got to a point that they were like, well, we don't want to blame it on the because I mean we got to make a lot of food, so skip a few things. That's very, very true. That's wild. That those. And when
somebody tells me they're sad, I'm like, okay, I need to get them some muffins, some pancakes, something easy, get them something with all the B vitamins. Pray for them and give them that. Yes. The other thing you mentioned, my study, Sue Becker has in her book. I bring her up because I learned so much from her. There's so many people out there now, but so there was this study done in Germany. And they fed some rats, like 50% of their diet was fresh milled flour. And, so German study, they were consisted of 50% of flour or bread. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So group 1 had eaten 50% of their diet, freshly milled ground flour. Group 2 had bread that was made with freshly milled flour. Group 3 was the same as group 1. However, it was aged for 15 days. So it sat for 15 days and they ate the flour. And then group 4 was the bread with the 15-day-old flour.
Ooh,
Group 5 was white flour. And what they found was the first 2 groups after 4 generations, which is equivalent to a lifespan of 100 years adult.
Okay.
They found the first 2 that had the fresh milled flour were still fertile, and those last 3 were not.
Really? So you're saying even so did you say the fresh milled flour?
Just flour that was fresh milled that consisted 50% of their diet. Yep. And then
bread. Wow.
And the bread that was made with fresh milled flour, but the bread that sat for 15 days you can buy 100%. And I'm still trying to look into this. I need to take some time to do the more checking and research on it, so I have a better grasp of it. But the flour, when you buy in the store and it says 100%, I actually was buying for one of my sourdoughs. I just want people to get their toes wet sometimes. And so I have one recipe that has conventional unbleached organic flour. And then there's some hard red and which is bread flour or sometimes a mixture, and then hard white. Well, I asked who I get it from, Something Better Natural Foods in Battle Creek. I asked, Brian, what's the difference? Like I'm buying this bread flour that's just hard red flour. I can mill it. And he basically said nothing. And so then I started thinking about it more, and I was reading a book. Oh, let your flour age when you're doing sourdough. Sourdough is a whole nother ball game with fresh milk.
Right, exactly.
And they said
Rachel didn't want me to tell you. She's trying to do one right now. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but she always forgets about it.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Exactly.
It's a learning curve. So, so they just said that. Now I lost. Sorry.
Oh shoot. So you keep going. So age your flour. So you
Yeah,
said,
so I was aging,
yeah,
sorry. Yeah, so aging, so I said, "What's the difference? I'm buying this flour that Sue Becker calls dead flour, and that opens a can of worms." Some people do not like calling it dead flour, but, it's not living because it's been sitting for how long?
correct.
So I realized that for sourdough, you do have to sometimes let it age a little bit if you want a little more fluffy and not so dense. So I let it age about a day in the freezer,
Right.
and on the counter for a
I
few hours.
feel like sourdough is a different animal because you're
It is.
literally bringing it back to life too. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like it could be dead, but then you're bringing it back to life, and that's the art of it. So,
Right, but there's not the vitamins, like, I Googled it once and I said,
oh yeah,
"Are
for
there more
sure.
vitamins?" And it says there's more vitamins in sourdough, and I'm thinking if you're using
No.
it does help, right? It does help
Mhm.
break down, all of that, but it doesn't add more vitamins to it. So I
Correct.
I look at, if you use fresh milk flour, many people that are gluten intolerant can actually, a
Mhm.
coworker of mine, I had a lot of people are like, "I can eat your sourdough," and it has conventional flour in it, but a little
Right.
bit, and it has, actually has more than the fresh milk, but it has fresh milk. She tried it, and it didn't go well, and so
Oh, okay.
I broached it lightly. I'm very careful when people have, gluten intolerance, but I just believe in this, right? Like, I believe it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
So I'm like,
yeah.
"Is it something with her gut?" And I said, "Well, would you be willing to try 100% fresh milk flour?" And she said, "On the weekend, I'll try it."
Right.
So, I made it, and she's like, "I just need to pass my paycheck over to you, and you just make me this all the time because I can eat this."
Correct. And
So,
that's
and
the
then
interesting thing because I have that concept in my head. I go, I think part of it, and this is how I just think in terms of when you have parts and pieces of dead flour, not using the germ, not using the living the wheat that we've created, and now it's something different. You know, your body doesn't know what that is, and so in a sense, like you're talking, and we're going to talk about that a little bit too, is like how that gluten and how that all breaks in. But you say the gluten intolerance might not be gluten at all's problem, like real gluten. I think we're ended up with this fake stuff that's not. It's like a mimic situation where they could you can mimic it with chemicals and all those other things, or you get some kind of bread, but
yeah.
it's not the real stuff. But so I had this chiropractor one time, and it was in a presentation. So remember Wonder Bread? I can bring this one up because it was hilarious. So on stage, he pulls off the crust, okay, all the crust around the thing. You can do it today. You take the entire bread, you squish it together, and he threw it against the wall. And then the rest of the presentation, it stayed there. So it was just this chemical
Mhm,
stuff. And
mhm,
all of us have had Wonder Bread, and it
mhm,
like melts in your mouth. It's
mhm,
ridiculous. Like how you're like, oh, that's so good, especially as a kid. Who
mhm,
doesn't want to like try that? But is it any good? No.
mhm.
It's like the worst bread you can possibly have. I remember that like it was yesterday. It was
That's
like
crazy.
boom, you just threw it against the wall and it just stuck. And it was just a regular, just bought it at the store on the way to the presentation.
Yep,
So,
that's crazy.
yeah. So
I've
that's
had
what I
those
think. I think you're onto something so huge. It's like, okay,
it's
like how
not
does
normal.
Europe pull it off? Right. So before, I knew you were coming on. So I'm like studying it. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
they have. And then a patient and I were talking about because he watches, and I said, oh my God, we're doing fresh milled flour. Moment I said that, he goes, it's funny. Look at our society now. What did we have before, Jeremy? I go, what are you talking about? He goes, we had bread store and meat stores all
Mhm,
over the place. Nothing else in there but bread or meat. And the
mhm,
reason why is because it's not going to last. It's going to you have to eat it at that moment, right? It's fascinating stuff because it's like, oh my
mhm.
God, that's it. There's no actual, and then you still see it in the European countries. You
Yep.
still have bread stores. Rachel in Canada, she still there's bread stores there making for daily fresh bread, right? And so I don't know if they're using mill now, but the idea is still there. And like, you live around here, there's nothing, right? You got to go to the store, God forbid, like whatever is on the Dollar General thing. I don't even understand what that is, and it sits there, and that's the claim to fame of the whole thing. But it's cost us a lot, like in the health and human being. If it's doing that to a gluten intolerance, right? And then all of a sudden magically it doesn't, then you're like, oh my God, how many people, what is it doing to the people that aren't gluten intolerant then? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
convenience, right? Convenience is, we live a fast-paced life. We cram in everything that we can. And so it's quick and it tastes good at first until you start to clean your palate.
Right.
Then it tastes like chemicals. But correct. First, it tastes good. I have family members that really struggle. They want the convenience. My bread will still fall apart. I'm still sometimes, trying to figure out different ways to do it so it can bend and stretch, but it's not the same. And so, if it's a cookie or something, it's so my husband loves my bread, so I'm grateful.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Oh man. And I understand why, because like once you get used to it, right, there's in your digestive tract, one of the problems is all it has to do is touch the taste sensors, right, going down, because you have a microbiome even in your mouth. Well, if we are so separated from what it feels like to be full, I found that out with working with Rachel through her her metabolism program that she does. When I got to that point where I was starting to really like lose weight, and like you're going, holy crap, like a salad gave me energy, right? And then I'm like, slow it down. Like this is years ago. I just remember I'm like, salad was not a Jeremy thing. It wasn't going to ever be a thing. And I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited for a salad. But then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this thing actually like promotes the energy, but you have to pass through the want of the brain, because they did such a good job of saying, okay, digestion stops at your mouth, right? Don't feel the rest of your body later, right? It's fine. If you feel like your gut's out to here, that's just a thing. Everybody gets that. Or your belly feels so bloated and all those things. Yeah, that's fine, right? Just keep eating the same stuff you were doing, because that taste sensor is so much more powerful. It's the first line of defense, really. So that is the challenge, I'm sure. Because it's a little different. What's your favorite that you make? Do you make like loaves of bread, or are you more of a baker for different things?
The loaves of bread are my big thing that I like to make. And my favorite thing when I first started, and I would encourage anybody who's first starting, if they can get a hold of some fresh mill flour from somebody, there might be somebody local. But I followed Felicia from Grains and Grit on YouTube, and she does a lot of research. I would recommend you to check her out. She lives in Florida, and she checks into, the phytates or phytic acid, and she goes into the glyphosate and just all the things. But anyway, she had a basic bread recipe, a simple yeast bread recipe that I could make in one time, a loaf of bread, and I had dough left over for either a pizza crust or rolls, and I even had some left over for cinnamon rolls. Now, after a while, I had my son's friend who came over, and he would try all my bread things, and which was huge, because when he was younger, he wouldn't. And
right.
I'm like, okay, what do you think? What do you think? He was my honest critic, which I needed. And I want to know the truth. And he's like, well, he tasted the cinnamon rolls. Well, they taste kind of like your bread, and everything else tastes like your bread, because it was the same recipe.
Sure, exactly. Right.
The family loved it, and it was a little different. You would put different things on it, pizza, you do different things. So that's my go-to. When I was a little girl, my mom always made me cocoa beets.
Okay.
And I I don't know if you've ever had them, but
No, talk to me. I want to hear
okay,
this. What is it?
this box you can still buy in the store. I went through a phase as a young adult too, and I would, make these cocoa wheats. It's just basically wheat that is ground coarser. My mill can ground things coarse and
Yeah.
coarse or fine. And sorry, I'm twisting as my hand,
Right.
how I do it on my mill.
Oh, that's all
But
good.
so that I would mill it a little bit coarser, and then I would put it in boiling water, and it would take just a few minutes. And actually, the cocoa wheats in the store would take longer, and you would just let it get thick. And it's like a cream of wheat. It's just a creamy
Oh, okay. So like an
cereal.
oatmeal-y
Yes.
kind of
Sorry.
thing. Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
description to get there. But then I'd add cocoa and all of that. Well, when I was, a little bit older in years, and I was trying to eat the cocoa wheats, and it wasn't settling well with my stomach. And I was so bummed, and I let it go for a couple of years. And then I'm like, I'm going to try this again. So I bought
Right.
another box and I tried it, and I couldn't do it. So then I started I would go to the health food store, and I bought some, like, just, you could buy, they're not grits, but it would be like, I forgot what they called it. The meal, I'm not sure. I can't remember now. Well, now I make my own, and I
Right.
can eat them, and I could eat it like that too, but now I know it's even better because I did it myself. I did it right away.
Right.
I'm consuming it right away, and it's filling. My sister-in-law loves it when I make
Right.
it for her, and you can do it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
My audience will probably hit you up for that one, because that
yeah,
one, it's a nice comfort food too. Like, and then and then let's say you're gluten, have some kind of issue, and that's like out the window. I can't imagine, that kind of situation. So
yeah,
that's neat. I
yeah.
like that.
There's
So
even
bread.
jubilant. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. So keep going. Keep going, because I'm
Well,
like loving.
there's so many things. I have a great cinnamon roll recipe that I found. I don't want to say the wrong person online that I found it by, but I love this recipe. It's actually, it use a Tangazong method or something. I don't know if I've got that right. It's from another
Right.
place in the world, but the cinnamon rolls are fluffy. They look like they're from a bakery. They taste like they're from a bakery. They are
Wow.
amazing. I've made Rejuvelac, which I learned from a holistic nurse. And so
Okay.
that's just the wheat berries that I soak in water, and then I rinse and I sprout them. Um, and then I think I soak them again. It's been a while since I've done it. And then you can drink it. It's a little bit lemony, but it's a fermented drink. It's called Rejuvelac, and it's really great for the gut. So that's a way,
Oh,
like, if
sweet.
people are, there could be some people who have a gluten intolerance that are noticing they still have symptoms, but if they can just do it slowly, and there's a whole plethora of grains out there. There are so many grains. Some are more tolerable for people than others. And then after a while, they may be able to eat more. Like, it's a healing. I've noticed healing, like
Right.
that, a
Yeah.
sustained energy, slow, sustained, it's just amazing.
Absolutely. So to talk to me about the grades. So let's talk about the process you go through, how you
Okay.
pick them, what you do. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I am still looking to find, different ones. I know there's, like I mentioned earlier, there's concern about glyphosate. I do get organic, and I started a cottage bakery a couple of years ago, but it's very small. Right now, my time is into my teaching at school. I've only been there 2 years, and
Right.
a small private school that I love, and so I don't have time as much for the cottage bakery. I did my first farmer's market, and that was fun. I love talking to people and getting them. I'm like, if you want to mill at home, you don't have to buy mine. You can do this
Right.
at home.
That's how
So
you get busier though, Stephanie. Trust me.
I know,
People will be like, sweet. Stephanie's gonna make that stuff for me though.
I know. Well, this is the deal, Jeremy. I hope that someday, Lord willing, this will be my retirement. I've got,
Absolutely. I think it's
grandbabies on the
amazing.
way. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that, then maybe I'll figure out the business end more, but right now that's not there. So my biggest source is Something Better Natural Foods.
Mhm.
Brian is the manager out there and out in Penfield, and he
Yep.
is so great, so great. So, I'll just call him up and I'll say, hey, can I get this? And I usually buy them in 50-pound bags of wheat berries. The biggest ones are hard red and hard white. Those are pretty common, grown in the Midwest, and those I use for most of my breads, my rolls, that type of thing, pizza.
Okay.
And
That's
so
cool.
I'll get it from
So
him. Go ahead.
Oh no, for those that don't know, so around us, we have kind of two that I'm going to ask you about as well, but we have this really neat, it's called Something Better. It's a very nice,
Mhm.
very large, I think,
Yeah.
middle of nowhereville, like shop that's really, really good. And so they really focus on a lot of good stuff like that. What about is the Amish something that you've ever looked at, or is it like, do they have that same, I don't know if they go even through the same process, honestly. I don't
You
know.
know, it's really interesting because we've gone to Shipshewana a lot, and you can buy grains down there in different places. And I've tried to go around a couple areas around here to Amish and find the prices I can get better from Something Better Natural
That's what I
Foods
was
or
wondering. Okay.
sources.
Yeah.
If I could find somebody local, it doesn't have to be organic if I know that they're not spraying, if I talk to
Right.
them about it.
Right.
There is somebody I've been told about that I want to look into. So if you can find someone that's local that's growing it,
Yeah.
I would prefer that over, buying it from halfway across the United States, if I could.
Right.
So
Exactly. And
yeah.
surprisingly, it should be something that would take off, but like the volume of people that know about what you're talking about tonight isn't as big as it needs to be. More front and center. And
Mhm.
one of the reasons I love that you even helped took the invitation was because of that, because it's one of those things where, you know, we got to get out of that mindset of everything, staying away. Let's stay away from all the things God put on this earth for us to do. That's why I became a herbalist, because it was crazy to have, all I could think of was one of my patients was showing he was making dandelion leaf for when he was doing the survival thing, and
Okay.
he found some dandelion roots and was able to eat them, like the leaves and everything else, right? And
Mhm.
so then I started looking it up. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the best gallbladder detox on the planet.
Right.
And there are the weeds in our yard. What?
Right.
So, and we tried to kill them. So I'm
Right.
like, wait a minute.
Right.
So then Rachel and I and the kids saw it last year on this now I'm gonna forget, native plants. So like all these ones like echinacea, all these different ones that grow really well. Like we're in an area that grows all this stuff
Nettle.
fantastically. So
Nettle.
like, and instead of and it's a beautiful flower. So like you're going,
Yeah.
okay, quit making our flower garden stuff that doesn't matter. What if
Right.
you could take it? And so Rachel's got like hanging all over the place, all the
Oh,
different things we've been starting to grow, but we're trying to do it in chunks to
yep.
see, so we don't get overwhelmed of
Yes.
not knowing what to do with it, kind of thing. But that is cool. So hard red and
Yep.
hard white is probably where to start as far as
For
like
for
thinking.
breads and things like that. Now, if you want to do cookies, those lighter like brownies, that would be soft white wheat.
Oh, okay. So soft white. Okay.
Mhm.
That's cool. How does it come? Like, what does it feel like? That'd be interesting, the texture, right? So like, do they
So
come
they're
a little, yeah.
I'm trying to think of it's just this little tiny grain. Like, I mean, I'm sure I'm trying to think. Well, like rice, it's
Yeah,
smaller
yeah.
than rice and it's hard and they're different colors, like if you lay them out. So I typically have 3 to 5 grains around my house and they store indefinitely. They actually
Right. That's the
around
other thing that's cool. Like until you
3,000.
activate it, right?
Yeah, yeah, and unless it gets wet, like, keep it away from, pests. Yeah, 3,000 years ago, they had found some in an Egyptian tomb,
Oh
and
yeah.
they actually grew, like, they put it in the right conditions, and it actually grew after 3,000
Oh my God.
years in a
You got
tomb.
me on a whole path right now. Cause like
It's
I
great.
watched this guy, if you ever watch, oh God. So this guy's amazing. It's called God in I'll promote him because it's really cool. He has a website that's called God in a Nutshell. And what he does, his name's Trey Smith. He's on YouTube.
Okay.
And Oh my gosh, his Noah and the Flood documentary
Okay.
goes through one of the, and now I can't remember where it was, but he goes in and you can actually see the bank. So their bank was the wheat, right? So
Yep.
it was
That's
the
cool.
coolest. You walk through and it was like, all right, I got to pay you this and I get my wheat, right? So that's why this gluten thing's drove me nuts since the beginning of the, and it's real. I understand. It's like these people suffer like
Yeah. Right.
badly, but it's like, what? Like, how are we suffering from the one thing that was like in giant storage things that people would use as literal currency? You
Right.
know, like, so then you're going,
Right.
okay, so how has that changed so much now that we're like, we can't even do it? It's like wild to me, unless we've gotten our bodies so used to non-real things that
Yeah.
now we're like, oh, we can't, like that's the fascination to me. And it's like with kids, it's like, I bet you if you started a child on like real wheat, like you're doing,
Mhm. Mhm.
the difference they would it's like instant. They would probably figure it out like right away and be like, oh, I don't like this as much. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
So
I'm
that is
so
really cool.
excited that my
Yeah.
daughter is on this. Friends of ours and family had gone together and got her a grain mill for her wedding last year. And so, and her being pregnant, there's so many benefits to her.
Oh,
And she couldn't eat in the first part. And very well, she had morning sickness pretty bad. But she wasn't milling very much and, just couldn't. And
right,
so
right.
now, but I've heard women who they didn't have morning sickness because they were eating it. So, everyone's different also, but I'm excited for these babies because Sue Becker had talked about that's the one thing she noticed with her children that were on fresh mills wheat as infants is their heads were stronger and
Correct.
there's just
Right.
so many
Because
things.
what they'll find is like, and this is a very big thing, like there's a lot of talk about certain shots out there causing this autistic type thing. And
Mhm.
one of the things that was fascinating, I read a book, it was a London pediatrician, and she actually would name the gut bacteria and the medicine that was that kind. So it wasn't a really popular book around in America, but
Right.
when she started naming the different things that would knock it out, but really she wasn't trying to blame anything except for the gut bacteria, because a lot of people don't realize when that baby comes into the earth or on the earth, they have no gut bacteria,
Right.
zero. They get their first one, their first run, or it's from the mother. So it goes in 3 cycles. You have when the baby's born, you have the vaginal gut bacteria that shows up first. So then you have that. And then as the mom and the dad start holding the baby, they, from just the skin contact, they start getting the next set of gut bacteria. Now,
Okay.
and then, so as they grow, and then they get up into like 4 or 5 years, 4 or 5 years old, then it starts to become this, it starts to become like into the adult phases. And grossly, but you'll know what I'm talking about. As the baby moves up in their number twos, it changes, right? And so that's the thing that you can really notice as a parent. You're like, oh, okay, now we're up to the adult level stuff, right? So that is very interesting. And I saw this TED talk in our world that we have. They took it off, but whatever. So that was shameful. But it was this scientist that was studying the gut bacteria, and I showed you that cycle, right? So you go into
Mhm.
this vaginal to, they call it like parent, like to that level,
Yep.
and then they go up to the adult. The scientist, his child had an ear infection, so they went and got him an antibiotic, but the kid was, his poop was in the study. Okay, so when they did the study at 4 years old, when he's supposed to go into the adult, he's ready to go, it dropped him all the way down to vaginal, like just one thing. And so what it showed was he had to start the cycle over. It didn't stop him from getting back to the adult, but he wasn't at the level he needed to be for a 4-year-old, right? And so that's why we think that's why that TED Talk disappeared. But it was one of those things they're like, yeah, you can't be talking about that. But the idea is like, let's say a parent, so you saw that both parents have gut bacteria problems before they have the baby, right? Now the baby's getting theirs, but is it the full amount, right? And so then that's where all those little concerns come of like, let's build this kid's gut bacteria up, right? And so all those things, and that's really the focus. I have one mom right now. It's the most glorious. Hopefully she's watching tonight because I'm so proud of her. She's adopted children. She's adopted a couple, or she's adopted one. She fosters quite a bit. And her first thing, as soon as she gets one of these babies, she starts going into gut bacteria mode right away. Right. So it's really cool. And then I'm like, oh my God, how many mothers would do this fresh milled thing? So how do you do it? So what kind of machine is it? Is it like, so you said it's like on a kitchen counter kind of thing? Or is it okay?
I have a Nutrimil Harvest. It's a stone mill, and there's others that are steel mill, but I don't totally know the difference between. I wanted the stone mill, but I know that you can get the benefits from not the steel mill exactly like the big conventional ones. But anyway, they have all different kinds now. But I have a Nutrimil Harvest, and it just sits on the counter. And if I'm going to bake bread, I just get my ingredients out. And basically, my bread is, if it's not sourdough, it is wheat that I grind, and salt, water, a little bit of honey, and yeast. I do a little bit of sunflower lecithin that I got from Georgia. A friend of mine went down there to visit.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah.
So sunflower lecithin, that I know a lot of people don't have issues with that.
Right.
And so, and I have bread baked. I like to do multiple loaves because if you're going to do one, you might as well do a couple. It doesn't take that much longer to do it at once. And I have 3 loaves of bread done in under 2 hours.
Whoa.
So it's cool. And that's not all hands on. Like it is probably, I don't even know. I haven't even timed it. I get distracted easily, so it might take me longer, but someone who is focused and can do it, they probably would only have
in the summer. I might be hitting you up. You might be coming to our office and doing a class on this because that would be sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to maybe at our party barn. We have this barn that we're going to use for like cool things like that at our house. So that might be a conversation. I think my patients would be like, "Oh my God, that'd be so fun." And it would smell so good.
Well,
who cares?
Right. You talked about the smell, but you know what else? You know how we're a cereal city and we can smell the cereal,
Yes. Yeah. For those that don't know, we live in the cereal city and literally you can smell that stuff. And if you grow up here, you miss it. Like if you go away, you're like,
I'm like, I even smelled it. But you know what? If you fresh smell in your own kitchen, you will smell that smell. It's from grinding it too. It's I say too, I don't know, all this time I thought it was from them cooking something, and maybe that was part of it. But when I grind it, those fresh grains,
that's so cool.
It's a sweet aroma. I don't know, it's beautiful.
Right. I love that so much, man. Yeah. So, well, Stephanie, thank you. I try to keep you. I don't want to keep you all night long, but I could. Me and you will do this again. I promise.
I just thank you so much. I get to talk flour to someone who's interested.
I know this is nuts, and this is the right crowd for that. So we already got. That's the neatest thing is like the people that are on here. I will have more conversation with patients like after this because some people just watch it. They're like, "Oh my God, that was great," and I know they're gonna love this because it's a conversation that we have to start having as a society, and like you said, biblically. If they're using it, like it is literally everywhere. You can store it forever, right? Yeah. And then you can turn it and you get this beautiful thing that turns alive. And if we do it right, like they know I'm a huge sauerkraut guy, that probiotics, there's more probiotics in sauerkraut than any supplement you could possibly get. So why not make something good, something that you'll actually do? And this recipe, the lemon dill one, is the one Rachel just tears up. So we burned through a lot more than people really, once you got going in it, your body likes it, right? So then all of a sudden you go, I kind of crave that. That's a good craving to have. I want people to have to crave the good stuff, the good flour. And now that you did pizza, oh my God,
Right.
that's going to be amazing. I got this sweet pizza oven thing that the kids think we call it garbage can pizza. And so it's kind of this clay. So I saw it at a rib cook-off, right? So they took one of those burn barrels.
Yeah.
And they took the burn barrel and they put a hole in the bottom of the burn barrel for the fire. So they have the fire on the bottom. Then they put the cooking grate on the top of the burn barrel. You put the pizza on the top of it, and then you'd cover it with a trash can lid with a little hole in it. Okay.
Interesting.
5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes. The smoke from the fire cooks the pizza. It's like one of those fire ones that you get at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And the kids go, "Oh my God, Dad." I go, "I know." When the smoke cooks that thing. And now it's like, and we always try to use my kids, the flour that she makes, just that tastes delicious anyway. But now let's try some fresh milled stuff.
Right.
I know. We'll see where this goes. That'll be fun. So, well, I appreciate your time so much tonight. And thank you again for doing this. And you got any parting things you'd like to say? Because we went over some stuff, but
yeah, we did.
My first interview in a while, so I'm like, dang it. Hopefully I answered all the great questions.
Can I share my Facebook page? I'm not real active on it, but if anybody has questions,
please do.
So I'm on Facebook, Fresh Milled Crumb.
Such a cool name.
And I'm on Instagram. Yeah, so I'm on there. I'm not real active there, but if anybody reaches out to me and has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
And keep me posted on your bakery too, as you go.
Yeah.
Regardless, all of us are side hustlers, right? So we have this other thing, and what keeps us aging well is not, those kind of side hustles are gorgeous. Like they're things that you can build up over time. And so for me, that's fantastic. So Fresh Milled Crumb on Facebook.
Yes. Yeah. And if I would just say, I love the side hustle too. It's fun. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that enjoyment of, this is fun to get people. I just want to encourage anybody that can do this. I have people that reach out to me. I would just say, start simple, pick one thing with the flour. Like I said, reach out to somebody and see if they'll do it, or if you start sourdough, but start simple and make it fun. Like it's fun and
make it a treat.
Pancakes and muffins. Simple. I don't even start with the bread if that's not your thing. Start with,
I didn't think about that. Pancakes.
Yes, pancakes, waffles, muffins, they're quick, they're easy. And most people, and, especially kids, like picky eaters, most people will like those. So throw some, chocolate chips in them or blueberry. So
you won me over with pancakes. So that's all.
So and throw some.
I always give a history story. So I have there was three brothers. Okay. So my one brother was the other interview I always do. And, I'm the oldest, and my dad would make one set of chocolate chip pancakes for the earliest kid out of bed. Everybody else. So guess who was the early guy? This guy, right? Yeah. Every time. I wasn't going to get beat. So it didn't matter what time. He was like, go back to bed. It's 5 a.m. I was like, I'm not losing. The chocolate chip ones were the thing. And my middle brother just gave up. He just slept in. He's like, I give up. I can't beat her. Cheer me up. He never sleeps in because it's chocolate chip pancakes. Some people just have problems. Yeah. And hopefully, and so this might help our problem. That might actually get it done. So
funny. And one more thing I would encourage people to do is get a simple scale. You can get them for pretty inexpensive, and weigh your flour in grams. It will come out a little more accurately. It's weight for weight. It's a better measurement. So if you're trying to there's so many recipes out there for fresh milled flour now. There's a lot of good resources out there. So start there, awesome. And then you can start converting. So
Right. That is so cool. Well, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night, and we'll talk later on how much you rock this, Miss Nervous. You did great.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.